This is the brand new Mercedes CLA, one of the most exciting cars to come out in Europe this year. And in this video, we're going to test and see if it's any good, because this is the electric exam of the Mercedes CLA, and you're watching Totally Electric. Mercedes CLA is available in a variety of versions, and this one here is the 250 Plus. And that is actually the one to get, because that's the one with the big battery, but only one motor, which means that you can go further on a single charge. We've got 85 kilowatt hour of available battery. We've got motor in the back, which gives us 200 kilowatts of power, which is equivalent to, I believe, somewhere around 270 horsepower. That will propel the car forward in 6.7 seconds, and it should give us 790 kilometers of WLTP range. Not bad, very impressive in fact. One of the reasons why we hopefully will get a lot of highway range out of a car like this is because it's got a 2-speed gearbox. So above 100 kilometers an hour, it'll go into second gear and we should be able to cruise even further. But one of the things I think is quite interesting about this car is that it's super quirky. It's got a lot of really weird little strange details, and that's where we'll start this review. You know how when coupes have frameless doors, the window just moves a little bit down when you open the door? But in this one, it's quite different. You open it and the window goes all the way down. I mean, more than halfway. Why, Mercedes? Maybe to make sure it doesn't vibrate too much when you close it, because it already sounds not the most solid of things. So there's a kick sensor here, and it sometimes works. There you go, second time's the charm. It's not the biggest of openings. This is only a 4-door saloon, so you'd have a hard time putting something big and bulky in there. However, we do have 450 liters, so if you want to get the stuff in there, there's plenty of room inside. It's just the opening is quite small. Let's go check out if there's a frunk in front of it and see if we can close it again here. Yep, got it. Right, let's see if there's a frunk underneath here. 450 liters in the back. There's no way to open it from your key or anything like that, so you have to go inside the car, pull a lever here twice. Typically not a good sign. And you come around, and yes, we've got 101 liters. It's quite a big frunk. You fit your charging cables, maybe even some luggage, a suitcase or something in here as well. Plenty of space in the Mercedes CLA. Ooh, that didn't sound good. All right, here's another funny details about the windows. So we only have 2 window controls in the front door here, but if you want to control the rear windows, you have a rear button. That's funny, isn't it? Why do we have that? Why can't they just put 4? Is it so much cheaper to put a little button with an LED light so you have to look down to your left to see if you're opening the rear windows or the front windows? I really don't like the window controls like that. Volkswagen do the same thing. Just stop it. I'm gonna go to a place called Almodóvar del Río, which is in the southern part of Spain. It is about, let's see, 450 kilometers away. That's 4 hours and 15 minutes of travel. I've got 100% battery. It's 13 degrees Celsius outside. Let's see how well you travel in the Mercedes CLA. According to this system, we're going to get there with 14% left on the battery. I have charging arranged at my destination, so that should be fine. Oh, by the way, I'm driving at full highway speed. I'm not going to go slow or anything like that. If the car says I can make it, I believe it. Let's go. Gonna have a wonderful trip here. It's raining a lot. This is not the kind of weather I'm used to here in Spain. But hey, it will affect range a little bit, but hey, that's a real world situation, isn't it? Okay, I'm at 50% battery right now. I've done 235 kilometers. I've been driving for 2 hours and 10 minutes. And I've only gone through half the battery. And today is probably the worst kind of weather for doing a range test, except for maybe, I don't know, snow. There's quite a lot of wind. It's raining and it's relatively cold, only 13 degrees outside. Even so, I've done 235 kilometers using half the battery. This car is gonna outrun my bladder, that's for sure. Just wanted to show you how badly it is raining, and it actually means that I have to lower my speed a little bit. I can't really do 120 safely there's really poor visibility, so I do have to lower my speed a bit. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm gonna stop here because I've been driving for 3 hours straight now. And we've got some chargers here. Let me just try these out. See if I can charge a little bit here. Just a smidgen. I don't need to strictly, but if I'm gonna stop and have a bite, I might as well. Okay, so I just stopped for 20 minutes, had some food, just a quick bite, and charged up to, we're now at what, 82%. Okay, so we've charged from, I think I was at around 30 something, 30 and a bit percent, and now we're at 82. Relatively slow charging, to be honest, but hey, I didn't really need it. But when you're traveling in an electric car and you stop for a bite, you might as well charge a bit, right? So let's keep going. This is my destination. This is where I'm going. Actually, I don't know if you just saw it up there, but that tower or that castle there, I think that was features as, I think it's called Castle Rock in Game of Thrones. Yep, they recorded a bit of that here. Anyway, I'm reaching my destination now. It's been raining awfully, so I haven't been able to drive as fast as I wanted to, but still, I've done now 450 kilometers at 107 kilometers of average speed. That's pretty good, actually. Oh, there's it. That's it, Castle Rock, I think. 17.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is an amazingly efficient car. I'm sure that if I was driving in the summer with heat and no rain and all that, it would be below, I don't know, 14 maybe. So this car can easily do 500 kilometers, even in winter. And I bet you will do 600 real world highway kilometers in summer. Yep, super efficient. Also, these seats are just the most comfortable. So anyway, 450 kilometers. I'm gonna do an event here. We're gonna have a talk and what's not. And then tomorrow I'm gonna drive back. Catch you then. Well, it is now the next day and we need to return another 450 or so kilometers to go back. And look at this, we've got 52% battery, so we're gonna have to do some charging on the way. Let's just go here, which is where I'm going, to my home. And it's about, yeah, it's gonna be raining again. 445 kilometers. I guess we need to charge somewhere. Yes, it's planned a charging stop. Let's see, where is it? There you go. I'm gonna get to the charger there with 23%, and then I'm gonna have to charge there for, I don't know for how long. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, 15 minutes it says here. Seems all right to me. Let's get going. Region on this car is absolute perfection. So there are 4 different levels. I've got high region, medium region, no region, and then I have something called auto region, where it will change the region depending on the situation and vehicles in front of me and if I'm coming up to a stop and things like that. That works quite well. The no region is very good for highway driving if you really just want to cruise along, and the high region is great for when you're in cities. So I like the fact that you can toggle them just by pushing the stalk forwards and backwards. Also, when I'm in high region, it is true one pedal driving. If I'm off the accelerator pedal, it'll come to a full stop. And the region is very, very aggressive, just like it should be if you set it to high. It's so aggressive, it leaves even Tesla behind. Tesla is usually famous for having quite aggressive region braking. This brakes even harder. Right, this is our stop. You know what? There's a supercharger over here. What happens if you plug in the CLA into a supercharger? Will it charge? So here we are, I'm at the supercharger, I'm plugged in and I just paid for it and it says charging error. Yep, the tension of this station is too low, it says. So yeah, the CLA will not charge at a Tesla supercharger. Okay, so at least now we're charging at 260 kilowatts and we're at 27%. Actually, I plugged in a minute ago at 25%. So I've finished my lunch and now I'm at 98% battery. Okay, good. Now I'll get to my destination with 40%. Which means I don't have to be careful now with the accelerator. I mean, up until now I was checking out how far can we go on a 120 kilometer speed. Now, I can be a little bit more loose with that from now on. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, I'm done traveling now. I've done 915 kilometers in 2 days. Yeah, I'm knackered, I must admit. Since the last charging stop, I've done 315 kilometers, and I did it in sport, and I wasn't really going, you know, exactly the speed limit. I might have gone slightly above. So my conclusion is this. In bad weather, with rain and relatively cold, this car at 120 kilometers an hour can do exactly 500 kilometers. If you're doing a little bit faster, maybe you say around 140, it can do 400. The reason why we go down to 400 is because we're using more energy to go faster, of course. But it's not that big of a difference, to be honest. 400 kilometers is still pretty good. I mean, I've been using less than 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers here. It says 19 right now. You know what? That's not too bad. And that's because this car has got 2 forward gears. So when you're at highway speed, it just sets into the second gear and it just cruises along. And it doesn't use all that much energy. It's really good for highway traveling. This is a really, really good long distance car. I gotta say, the charging was just when I had to eat anyway. So I don't really know how fast it charged. I'll do a charging test of this another day, but wow, fantastic for traveling. Really, really good. So this is Thunder. They're a Spanish charging operator and they're super reliable. Their charging stations are always fast charging. You can pay by credit card, by roaming. You can use the Thunder app, whichever way you like, making it really easy. And that's why I like to work with them on these videos, because I know the charging is going to work. So we need to charge 200 kilometers. According to the test drive we did, that means 37 kilowatt hours, because it was 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So 200 kilometers, that would be 37 kilowatt hours. Let's see how long time it takes. We started off very quickly, and it just started by directly charging at nearly 300 kilowatts, and it's now at 70%. I plugged in at 5%, and we're still charging at 273 kilowatts. Now, it's relatively cold today. It's only like 12 degrees centigrade outside, so that will affect the temperature of the battery, and that might mean that we are starting off a little bit slower. You can actually, inside the car, on the actual dashboard, see the temperature of the battery and what is the maximum kilowatt power it's capable of receiving. So now we've charged 13.6 kilowatt hours in 3 minutes. That's nearly 100 kilometers. That's pretty good. Well, let's leave it charging and see how long time it takes. Oh, right, this isn't too bad. We've charged the first, 100 kilometers in exactly 4 minutes. That's pretty good. 4 minutes to charge 100 kilometers. I mean, you're going to take longer to order a Whopper in Burger King here next to us than this car will take to charge up enough for you to continue your travel. This car is about to break the record for the fastest charging car we've done here on the channel, because what we test is actually how long time will it take it to charge 200 kilometers. So we take into account the actual efficiency, and right now we're at 8 minutes and come on there, 8 minutes 3 seconds. It's done it. New record. Brilliant. This is our new charging champion. The Mercedes CLA is now the fastest charging car we've done on this channel. We've charged 200 kilometers equivalent of highway driving in just 8 minutes and 3 seconds. Good job, Mercedes. So inside the CLA, there are a few things I dislike particularly. So it's very plasticky. There's some nasty plastics all around. I think that this dashboard and this middle bed and this aluminum stuff and the door handles and the plasticky buttons, they're not proper for a 50,000 euro Mercedes. Also, they put these touch panels instead of actual buttons in there. And I'm not particularly a fan of buttons. I'm happy with things being on the screen. But if you're going to put buttons, the whole argument for buttons is that you can manage them without having to look at the screen, right? But you can't with these because they're just haptic buttons. So you sort of have to glide your finger over them and touch them, and then the whole thing moves, and it's just feels very, very cheap for a Mercedes. So these haptic buttons here, they're very imprecise. Look how much the volume just goes up and down with me just sliding my finger across it once. I don't like that at all. It's very difficult to be precise, so it's distracting more than it's actually helping me. The same thing happens also for the speed controls for the ADAS systems. Now what I do like are the screens, right? So I've got this big screen here in the middle, and I've got a secondary screen here behind the steering wheel. And the secondary screen behind the steering wheel, I can either put standard controls on there with speedometer and all that stuff, or I can actually show the map with the GPS on it, or I can even show the ADAS. So, you know, the people that are moving around me and finding parking spots, and that is really nice. So that screen is good, that screen is good. Buttons, plasticky, not so good. I've got Apple CarPlay and I don't have to plug in my phone. That is good. Funny enough, it's sort of in a window. They don't even use the whole screen. Don't know why. I also have plenty of inbuilt application, amongst others, for example, Angry Birds. Yes, you can now play Angry Birds in a Mercedes. What? There are a few things that they've done really, really well with this system. For example, you can just hold down the mute button and it'll turn off all these annoying warnings that, you know, the European Union and the mummy state thinks that we need when we're driving our cars around here, and I hate them. When clicking on the car here, we've got shortcuts to some of the most accessible or used settings we have here. We can even open the boot or the charge port and other such things from here. This is really useful. I like it a lot. We also have a few additional settings up here, so we can turn off, you know, the voice recognition, or the interior camera, which is located right here. Can be used by either applications for, say, conference calling, or for security purpose if we have an accident as well. There are plenty of additional apps you can install, and of course, if you have Apple CarPlay, you can pretty much do anything with this system. So that's really nice. Now, I've got this screen over here, which can be an additional screen for the co-pilot. However, in this one, they didn't put it in there. It's an option. The interior lighting is both available here, and you can't see it now because it's quite bright daylight, but there's also interior lighting on these air vents, and that is really annoying because the air vents reflect off of the windscreen and off of the side view mirrors. So I've actually had to turn it way down low, because if not, at nighttime, they're really, really distracting. I have a whole set of sounds I can add. So even though it's an electric car, I have a sound experience, and I've got 6 different sound experiences I can choose from. So granular fuzz, which makes the car sound like an angry monster when I drive it, or fractal fusion, or serene breeze, like a whispering elf, or something like that. I don't know. It's quite fun, and I've actually left these on for the majority of the time I've been driving this car. I've put it in, I think I put it in granular fuzz. Now, if you actually plan a route, as I've done here, it will plan charging stops for you, and it'll choose the stops that are compatible with this 800-volt system. So here I've planned a route for the southern part of Spain. It says I should charge this particular location, which, I don't know, I need to charge for 14 minutes or something like that. Sounds good, sounds all right, I'll do that. So in this car, I've got heated seats, good. I'm a bit surprised that this steering wheel isn't heatable. You know, that would have been nice, Mercedes. Battery management. Right now it says that I can charge at a maximum of 79 kilowatts if I plug it in right now. And I can go in here and say, how is it that I can only charge at 79 kilowatts when this car in theory can do 320? Well, because the battery temperature, it's quite cold outside, like 9.5 centigrades, and my battery is at 55%. So if I were to drive around and I choose a charging destination, then the car would heat up the battery. Good. I'll try that later on. Let's see how far we can drive and how fast we can charge it up, actually. So overall, it looks nice. It's pretty sophisticated. Materials are crap for a Mercedes of this quality. Like, just look at this. What the hell is this? This is the flimsiest solar visor I've ever seen. And it's in a Mercedes. Not good. Let's put it back in granular fuzz, right? Come on. Yeah. Okay, look at this. This is the augmented reality saying that I need to go around the roundabout. See the arrows down there? And when I'm coming around here, have a look at them. look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. It shows me where I have to exit. This is an excellent system that really helps me get around, especially if I'm in a place I don't know where I have to go and there are several different lanes I have to be in. Lovely, fantastic. Overall, the driving experience in this Mercedes is second to none. This is some of the best driving you can possibly imagine. Like even the sounds. Oh, hell yeah, I love that. It's great. This is one of the few electric cars where I haven't turned off the artificial motor engine digital sounds. I love it. It's great. Also, the dynamics, the setup, the chassis of this car is just fantastic. You've got the different driving modes, and of course I've put it into sport, so it's a bit more firm. And I don't mind it being firm. In fact, I actually like it like that. Now here we have to go right. The little arrows there shows me how to do that. It's also got an excellent parking system. So it'll show virtual reality, the parking spaces, and, you know, draw the car on top of it. No, driving this car, I mean, it's really a fantastic driver's car. It's good on these roads, around roundabouts. It's great for highway driving. I really can't fault the driving in this car. It's one of the best experiences in the driving world, and I have to give it back now, and it's such a shame because I want to drive this car much more. Just listen to that. Oh. Anyway, driver assistance in this car is absolutely amazing. It will do lane keep, lane change, and will also do adaptive cruise control. So I'm using it right now. It's just turned on, and as you can see, the car's driving. I'm not. I have to, of course, keep my hands on the steering wheel as always, but it is haptically controlled. So I just have to lightly caress it, and it'll know that I'm available. By the way, as you can see, I've got the sun blazing in through the front window, and the car, it doesn't affect it. It doesn't care. It's okay. If I change lane, it'll automatically re-engage the lane keep assist, and I don't have to like turn it on and off. It'll just do it. It's also collaborative. So imagine there's a pothole up there and I want to avoid it. I can just slightly tweak the steering wheel, go a little bit around it, and it's fine. I don't have to turn it off and, you know, avoid the pothole and then turn it back on. It's collaborative. I do like it. It's also quite aggressive in accelerating and braking. So when I go past a car and I get into another lane and my speed is higher than what I'm going, it'll actually accelerate quite aggressively, or assertively might be a better word for it. I do like it. I think it works well. It's a good system. In fact, I think Mercedes do one of the best driver assistance systems available here in Europe. Yeah, I know it's not, you know, fully autonomous and all that stuff, but laws won't allow us to use that anyway. So, driver's car, yes. Adaptive cruise control and ADAS, very good. It's a pleasure to move around in this car. Absolutely.
Let's go through the score of the electro exam of the Mercedes CLA 250 Plus, a car we were really looking forward to testing. Travel. We put it to the test on a long real-world trip with heavy rain. Even so, we managed 500 kilometers of range with a consumption of just 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. If we'd done this in August with warm weather, I'm sure we would have easily reached another 100 kilometers. For traveling in this car, I have to give it 9 points. Charging. On the one hand, the car is absolutely incredible, but on the other, it has important shortcomings when it comes to charging. It cannot charge on a 400-volt charger, and you cannot manually set the charging speed on AC chargers. The on-screen information is good, it plans routes well, and it has vehicle to load. I was going to give it a 10 because it charged so quickly that in just 8 minutes we recovered 200 kilometers or 120 miles, but I think we need to remove 1 point due to the lack of compatibility with 400-volt chargers, so we're left with 9. Driving. The Mercedes CLA is a delight to drive. The chassis is beautifully set up and is very enjoyable behind the steering wheel. Its 6.7 seconds acceleration is not the fastest, but it actually feels a bit quicker when you're driving it. The regenerative braking is adjustable to perfection. The suspension is good, but if we have to criticize something, it's the jolt during the hard acceleration when it changes gear. It's noticeable around 100 to 110 kilometers an hour. We give it 7 points for driving, interior and quality. Space is acceptable, although not particularly generous, especially in the rear seats. The fit and finish are very good and the design is modern and elegant. However, the materials feels like a quality level that you just couldn't justify in this vehicle segment. It lowers the interior score slightly, leaving it with just 8 points. Exterior and design. The exterior design is good, it's attractive, it's aerodynamic and stays faithful to the classic CLA design. The boot opening is very small and it's hard to fit things through, but once it's open, the space inside is fine. The rest is as it should be, with the charging port at the rear on the right, 8 points for exterior and design. Technology. Screens with augmented reality, improved interfaces, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. The car is packed with technology, especially if you pay the different add-on packages to upgrade it. We give it 8 points for technology. Driving assistance. The driver assistance system works properly and even detects the driver just by slightly touching the steering wheel. I like how it accelerates and brakes when there are vehicles ahead. It parks itself and in theory it can also change lanes, although I was never able to get that function to work. 7 point. Price. It's impossible not to compare the CLA with the segment's best-selling car, the Tesla Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive. The Tesla cost 10,000 euros less, although it can also be seen as a more mass-market vehicle, while the CLA maintains a certain status for being a Mercedes. However, the interior materials doesn't really support that impression. We can also compare it with BMW i4 eDrive 40, which costs 65,550 euros. And finally, if we want a European brand saloon suitable for traveling, we can't ignore the Volkswagen ID.7, which in the Pro version cost 54,700 euros. Therefore, we give it 7 points in the pricing category. Adding it all up and applying the weight of each category, we reach a final score for the Mercedes CLA 250 Plus of 80 out of 100 points. A stunningly good results and one of the highest in the electric exam, largely due to its range and charging performance. It is a car we can highly recommend, especially if you like traveling a lot.